Hi guys, how are you today? We are back to work. I hope you're feeling great. This week, the work you have for this week, it's very achievable, okay? We're gonna do some definitions and we're gonna use them. And it's really easy. So guys, let's go for it. So look at this. This is just a definition, okay? Just to make it a little bit more difficult, they have just defined what it's 1 over sine, what it's 1. So the reciprocal of sine, the reciprocal of cosine, and the reciprocal of tangent. And to make it even more difficult, the names are confusing because look, cosecant, right? It's actually the reciprocal of sine, while secant, it's the reciprocal of cosine. And then cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So we're going to be using these three identities, which are really simple, okay? And it's, again, just make sure you have it written down up here so you don't get confused. Let's write it. Cosecant of x equals 1 over sine of x. Secant of x, it's 1 over cosine of x, and then cotangent of x, it's 1 over tangent of x, right? Okay, once we have these definitions written, this is very simple because we have cosecant of theta. Now, cosecant of theta, if we use the definition up here, cosecant would be 1 over sine of x. So that's 1 over sine of theta, right? Now, sine of theta for 330. We take the unit circle. It says, okay, 330 sine 330. The sine is it this one or this one? Mick, how are you today? I'm great. I have been running lately. That's great. Okay, so tell me, Mick, which one is the cosine? Which one is the sine? Remember, the first one, the x, would be the cosine. Yes, the cosine. While this one, the y will be the sine. That's correct. So, sine of 330 is going to be negative 1/2, right? Sine of 330 is going to be negative 1/2. Then if we know that sine of 330 it's negative 1/2, right? If we have to find cosecant of 330, because theta is 330, that's going to be 1 over sine of 330. And that's going to be 1 over negative 1/2. Now fractions, division of fractions. What do we do here? 1 over negative 1/2. If we divide, that's 1. So it's going to be 1 over 1 divided over negative 1/2, right? So what we're doing here, you know what? This negative, I'm just going to put it here. So it doesn't stand in the middle. It doesn't matter if you put it up here, down here in the middle. So now when we're doing this division, remember we're doing this times this. We put it underneath, and then this times this. Put it at the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times negative 1, it's negative 1. So that's negative 2. That's it. So cosecant of 330, it's going to be negative 2. That's it. We're done. Okay. So here, okay, this one, it's 150, right? So again, cosecant, we have to use sine. We go and we look for sine of 150, and then we do the reciprocal. So it's the same thing. For negative angles, so we have secant. Now we have here secant of negative 240. Well, first of all, if this is negative 240, right? That means that's 180, right? From here to here, that's 180. So what is this here? Okay, so if this is 180 and we have to reach 240, that has to be how much, Mick? I don't know. Come on, Mick. What's going on here? So this has to be 60 because 60 plus 180 is 240. Okay? If this is 60, that means that this has to be 30, right? Then if this is 30 and this is 90, 90 plus 30, this is 120. So all this is going to be 120. And now that we know that this is 120, we can use that secant of negative 240 is going to be the same as secant of 120. Now, secant, let's use the reciprocal formula. The reciprocal formula is 1 over cosine of x. So that's going to be 1 over cosine of 120. And then we come to the unit circle and we said 120 cosine, right? Cosine, it's negative 1/2. Here we go, negative 1/2 for cosine of, again, so that's 1 over negative 1/2, which you already know that it's negative 2, right? That's great. As you can see, cosecant and secant have values over 1 and negative 1. One of these days we're going to see these functions, how they look like, okay? And then the last problem I'll do for you is this one here. It's 510. Now, what we have to do here for this one, 510, well, the first full round, it's 360, right? So that means that this, okay, it's 510 minus 360. And if I am right, this must be 150. Am I right? 150. I am right, because 150 plus 360, if we add them, that's 0, that's 1, that's 510, right? So I'm right. So that means that this is 150. 150 cosecant. Remember, cosecant of 150 is going to be 1 over sine of 150, and then 150, the sine is the second one, that's 1/2. That's 1 over 1/2. And again, what we're doing all the time, it's just whacka, we're flipping, right? That's what the reciprocal means. So this is 2. And we're done. Okay? So that's about it. These are the same. Okay? Now for Tuesday, we're going to do the same thing, but with radians. So I'm going to do a couple of examples on the next video for radians, okay? Remember that I want to see the work. I'm interested in seeing the work, okay? Have a nice day, guys.